Welcome to On Deck with the Ketts, the official show of the Cotuit Kettleers, taking you through everything happening around Lowell Park and all throughout the village. Now here's your Cotuit media team for this episode of On Deck with the Ketts.
Welcome into episode 4, season 3 of On Deck with the Ketts, the official podcast of the Cotuit Kettleers. Alongside Lily Butler and Joe Pratt, I'm Tyler Danburg, welcoming you into another episode as we are getting closer to opening day at Lowell Park. Let's start off with you, Lily. How are you doing today?
Doing good, getting closer every day. So excited to be with you guys in the Cape and excited to have Steven on tonight.
Joe, fresh off spring break, how you feeling?
Yeah, great. Another great interview set up today and chance to get the podcast back and rolling, and just a couple months until summer. We're excited and great conversation ahead to be had, Tyler.
And we're excited to have a special guest today. He pitched in 2017 and 2018 for the Kettleers. He also pitched for Appalachian State, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and he went to a College World Series with the University of Virginia. It is Stephen Schoch, who also currently covers college baseball for D1 Baseball and is the host of his own podcast, the Schoch Factor podcast. Stephen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And let me just say, Tyler, I want you following me around, introducing me everywhere I go. That made me feel so good about myself. You did such an excellent job, but I'm doing fantastic. I get to talk about college baseball with people associated with one of my favorite college baseball organizations. How could it be better, you know?
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. So let's start off with that, because last Monday, March 13th, you tweeted out something and you said, in theory, if I were to rent a huge house in the Cape all summer, could I be a host dad for the Cotuit pitching staff? How might you think that to go down this summer?
I have no idea how it could happen, but my life goal right now is to save up enough money to buy a house on Cape Cod. That way I can, spend summers there covering college baseball and all that. But really, I just want to be a host dad. I think it would be so much fun. I had a great experience with both my host dads in the Cape between the 2 years, and my host families in general were just such awesome people. And it's like, I want to contribute to that awesome experience of Cape Cod, because they're already going to have a great time playing for Coach Roberts and being up here. But let's make it so they get home and the Twitter guys there, and I can tweet all their highlights and all that stuff. Make it easy. One, makes my job easier because then they just bring the highlights to me. And two, I feel like I could impart some wisdom on them about, whether or not you can have clam chowder before a game. You absolutely can. There are a lot of people who didn't agree with me on that, but gas station clam chowder before Cape Cod games, it's like a match made in heaven, So I just think it would be fun. I have a lot of insight to the ins and outs of the Cape, mainly relating to clam chowder, but I just think it would be a good time.
Steven, I'm hoping that if you achieve that goal of having a house in the summer, we'll all be invited over for clam chowder night. Looking forward to that. But
as long as you guys aren't afraid of the gas station clam chowder.
You like Dippin' Dots. I like Dippin' Dots. I think we probably have similar tastes. So it'll probably be okay. Could you tell us about some of your core memories with your host families? And you said that like really poured into your experience in Cotuit. What were some of your main memories with your host families?
So my first memory was I showed up a day early just because I wanted to be up there so bad. I spent the whole spring season thinking about being up there, spent the whole fall thinking about being up there, if I'm being honest with you. And so I came up a day early, and it was just me and my host dad there. And my whole host family, it was a dad, a son, two sons, who I believe they were 8 or 10 and 6 at the time, and their mom and his wife. But they were just amazing people. I remember I first showed up, and Scott, he's this real hardworking blue collar guy. He's got all these tattoos, and he's the best carpenter in all of New England. So if you need custom cabinets done, Simply Custom Cabinets, I'm gonna shamelessly plug them right here because you guys let me keep talking, so I did it. But anyway, I just remember meeting him, and like he had such a nice house, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm not what you expected, right?" And just like how honest he was, and how he was like, he kind of was this guy who just worked so hard all his life to live the life he was living. And it was cool to see like what your hard work in life can do, like even beyond baseball, like just having that work ethic, and you know being someone who you can come home from your job every day and like do work you're proud of. Like there's something to be said about that. And just they were so down to earth, and like they were incredible people. So I do remember that day, after we had dinner and everything, and we made jokes and we got along pretty quick. But and I was in the basement watching the draft with my host dad, and he was like, "So you think your name's gonna be called?" And I remember just looking at him plain and simple, and I was like, "I'm not that kind of Cape guy." I was like, "I'm a finesse righty. I'm gonna have good numbers, but I'm not gonna blow anyone's mind with what I got here." So that was definitely up there. And then honestly, a lot of the memories from them have come after living with them. Like they've kept in touch, and every year on my birthday they send me a gift, and every year I look forward to it. My host mom sends me marshmallow fluff because she would make me a peanut butter and marshmallow fluff sandwich every day, and I would eat about 6 of them. They were incredible. But it's just nice, like knowing that someone's there that cares. And these people, they could have just let me live in their house, collected their stipend, and gone on with their day, but they were coming to games every day. They were bringing me burritos in the bullpen. Like I wasn't even asking for this stuff. I would never ask for that, and they were just like, "Hey, we brought you a burrito today." And I was like, "Okay, cool. You did not have to feed me. I'm full of clam chowder, as we already know." But they're just great people, and I'm honestly, that's one of the reasons I love the Kettleers so much, is because without them I wouldn't have met all the people I met up there.
Steven, you talked about last year when you joined this podcast and how a lot of your memories came when you were not necessarily pitching on the mound, when you were interacting with the fans and the crowd at the games. Can you just talk about that and your interactions with the fans and kind of the community of Cotuit while you were there?
Yeah, so it's going to sound lame, and former teammates of mine may roast me, but I loved doing the 50-50 raffle. I loved going around with the kettles and just all the little kids following us around trying to sell raffle tickets. That was one of my favorite things to do, just because there were so many people there. Like so many. And I was at UMBC at the time, so I wasn't used to thousands of people watching me do baseballs. Like I was used to a couple hundred, and most of them were related to us. And that's not a knock against UMBC. That's just how it was. And so like being able to walk around a baseball game and realize like all these people are here to see the product we put on the field. Like how amazing it is that baseball games can take a long time. And these people are willing, like they're making it part of their day. When they wake up in the morning, it's okay, we're going to go to the beach. We'll come back for lunch, maybe take a nap. Then we're going to go and watch the Cotuit Kettleers. Like I was just so grateful that there were people who actually wanted to come and see what we were up to and see what we were doing, because you don't always get that in summer ball. A lot of summer ball, you don't get any of that. But just meeting the people that came up there and came by there, like I remember the Strand family. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them. They're incredible people. Like I held their baby during baseball games for innings on end with my friend Joey Walsh. And like you aren't getting that anywhere else. You can't come to an ACC baseball game and walk to the bullpen and say, "Hey, can you hold my baby?" And for the record, Gavin's dad, Dan Strand, did not go, "Hey, hold my baby." I was like, "Hey, I'm playing catch with your son. He's a real cool kid. Can he hang out in the bullpen?" Because he kept going up, and I can't say no to people. So naturally, me and Joey Walsh picked him up. It's just like the people make it so special there, and you guys will realize it. Have you guys been up there yet? Or are you guys in that limbo where it's like, I took my internship, haven't made it up yet? And I'm not going to judge you if you haven't.
I've spent a summer up there, but these two haven't. I'm the only one who's done the internship before. These two
coolest place in the world.
I'm really excited. I'm from Texas, and I haven't been really up there in that area at all. So it's all new to me, but I'm really excited.
It's a little different than Texas, I would say. Not
I can
nearly as
imagine.
many fast food options, but some.
Yeah, I'm from Cleveland and I go to Ohio State, so it's going to be nice to watch college baseball players play in weather above 40 degrees.
Yeah, you'll get to see your first baseball game in shorts. You're going to really appreciate that. It'll be real fun for you.
Really looking forward to that.
But it's just such an incredible place, and you guys, you probably won't because I'm not really selling it here, but you guys will get up there like first week and look back and be like, no, Steve was right, this place is really sick. And then at the end of the summer, then you'll blow through the whole summer and look back at the end and realize, shit, I do not want to leave. Like, I remember end of each season I was up there crying with Coach Roberts just because we didn't want to leave. Like, plain and simple. Like, I wasn't even sad. Like, our last game was, I believe we played Wareham. I blew the lead, gave up a home run. And I remember crying after, not because I didn't even care that I gave up the home run. I just was sad I was going to miss all my new friends and like Cotuit in general. Like, it's a really special place.
And you still keep in touch with a lot of your teammates as well, not just the host family and coaches, but your teammates too?
Oh, absolutely. I talk to Joey Walsh just about at least once a week. I got to up that number because I love the kid. It's just been so busy with college baseball starting. But yeah, I keep in touch and I follow along with everybody I play with. I remember last year or 3 years ago, I had not bought a pack of baseball cards since I was 12 years old. And I saw Joe Boyle was going to be in a set of Bowman Draft. I bought so much Bowman Draft just to get his baseball cards to look at. Like, not to sell like some people do with baseball cards, nothing against those people, but like just to have, because it's so cool, like that I can sit on my couch and watch a spring training game and be like, I remember drinking not drinking beer with that guy, hanging out with that guy, and hanging out with so and so, and just like I played on the same team as all these guys who are doing such incredible things with the game of baseball. And how can I not be obsessed with that fact?
Steven, you just mentioned, I mean, I'm a first timer coming from Texas, and you said there's not a lot of fast food options. I want to know, what are Steven Schoch's food recommendations in Cotuit?
So there aren't a ton of food options fast food wise, but if you do find yourself craving fast food in Hyannis, there's a combination KFC Taco Bell, which is great. Yeah, do you guys know about
Combination?
Tyler?
Tell us more.
You've never seen combination KFC Taco Bell. So back in, I believe it was the 90s, Pepsi Cola and Coca-Cola were going at it. The cola wars were crazy. But around the mid 1990s, I believe it was, Pepsi realized that they were not selling their products the same rate Coke was selling. Because let's be honest, Coca-Cola is the best. It's plain and simple. It's the best. Tyler, this one's for you. It's the best pop out there. And I could feel you cringing knowing I was going to say soda in my next sentence. But anyway, back to the cola wars. Pepsi could not compete with Coca-Cola. So what they did was they went to the restaurants that they had their products in, and they bought the restaurants and said, you know what, instead of having to spread out among multiple locations, let's just throw two of them together in some places, save some money. And that's how Pepsi stayed in business. I bet you guys did not see me coming at you with that story, but this is a very, very efficient combination KFC Taco Bell. Highly recommend it. And then honestly, every day for lunch where I would get my it's not necessarily gas station clam chowder, but it is convenience store. I don't remember, it's called the Coop. That's the name of it. It's even mentioned in the song Hey Cotuit, which if you guys don't know about that yet either, you will also learn much about that song. But the Coop, it's right across from the field, and they have great sandwiches. I would get probably a BLT with turkey, I believe it was, and clam chowder just about every day. Yeah.
Good
and then a monster. Yeah. You might not want to eat like me.
Well,
it's not easily done.
I'm not sure how fans in the town would feel about you calling it a convenience store per
Well,
se.
I see it the way. I'm not talking like a 7-Eleven convenience store. It's very convenient and it's a store. So I should have paused longer.
Saved yourself there. You saved yourself there.
Yeah, my bad, everybody.
Well, there's a new Wendy's not too far away from the field as well now too, so that's
Oh,
pretty nice.
that's huge.
Yeah. And then getting back into baseball a little bit here, you alluded to working with college baseball and college baseball athletics and stuff like that. I don't think you mentioned exactly what you do though. What kind of work are you doing?
Yeah, so I just kind of tweet about college baseball, do the podcast about college baseball, the Schoch Factor. I'm trying to make YouTube videos, but I'm not as good with the computer as kids these days. So it's been taking me a very long time. But I'm trying to figure that out. And then I'm also going to start putting out some videos with Sonny D from Auburn. If you know who he is, he's a very fun guy, but he's a great personality. I think college baseball will be better with him being involved, talking about it. I mean, obviously, he's going to be playing baseball for a long time, I think. So he's a little busy with that, but we're going to figure that out more too. But yeah, just anything you can think of that's related to college baseball, I'm going to try to do at some point, hopefully.
What led you to that transition into kind of where you are now?
I kind of just stumbled and fell into it, if I'm being honest with you, because being a ball player and especially playing at the college level, you'll learn that life's just about not wondering where the opportunities came from, but just taking opportunities and running with them. And so, in spirit of that, I had this little interview after pitching against South Carolina. And I guess I was funny. I guess I made people chuckle, which is good. I think the world needs more laughter. So I'm glad I could do that for them. But the interview just kind of took off, which I did not see coming. I was just kind of speaking from my heart. I was a little tired from pitching, and also I couldn't really believe what just happened because I remember watching South Carolina and Virginia play in the postseason for many years as a child, and I couldn't believe that I got to contribute to that and actually contribute positively. So I was a little taken back because a lot of times in baseball and a lot of times in athletics in general, people are always like, oh, you can't get complacent. You can't dwell on where you're at. You got to think about the next level. But me, I I dwelled hard on where I was at often because after every outing, I'd just be like, it would be like my whole persona on the field was completely dropped. And it's like I was a new person. And it was like, I know that's not actually how it was. I was still Steve, but that's how it was perceived in my brain. And that's how it felt of like, okay, I just got done my work. I just got done being the big ass who's mean and arrogant the whole time and might not be universally liked. And now I'm just Steve the guy. And I was just, I'm just a normal guy. And, I got a lot of followers after that. And I was trying to think, how can I entertain these people? How can I serve the people who are following me? Because they don't have to. They don't have to follow me, but I want to serve them. And why not serve up the best dish, which is college baseball? And I've just been kind of running with that. And D1 had reached out about doing a podcast, and so did the guys between Cespedes Barbecue. And I'm a big believer in if you like two groups of people, work with them both. And so that's what we did. And I got really lucky. And I've just been kind of going with it ever since until someone tells me to stop. And then I'll probably keep doing it because I ramble and I got a lot of words to say. So I got to say them somewhere.
Talking about college baseball still, specifically your college career, what skills did you learn in Cotuit and how did you grow as a pitcher there that you carried on to your college career?
Just a lot of confidence. Pitching coach Jerry Weinstein really helped me out a lot there in just understanding what pitching is. Like pitching isn't missing bats every time you're out there. Pitching isn't giving up a million home runs either. Pitching is doing your best to execute your skill set. And in pitching, there's obviously the outing, which is the biggest part, but Coach Weinstein helped me shift my perspective from the actual outing and being on the field being the most important part to the process leading up to that to being the most important part. So if my bullpen was good, if I stretched properly, did my pregame routine, had my pregame clam chowder, I was going to go out and have a good outing. And if I didn't have a good outing, that's fine because I still executed my process, did my preparation to the T to put myself in a position to be successful. But sometimes in the game of baseball, things just don't go your way. And that's all right, because as ball players, we need to learn how to be okay with that. And I would say coming into Cotuit, I wasn't necessarily that okay with pitching poorly, but leaving Cotuit, I was perfectly fine with it. I could pitch poorly and just move on.
And Steven, I got kind of a two-part question for you here. Back in high school, you started out throwing from a normal mechanical standpoint before your coach kind of asked you to change up your mechanics a little bit. Maybe tell us a little bit about what that was like, and then your senior year going over 50 pitching over 50 innings without allowing an earned run. What was that like too?
Yeah, so it was super cool. Really enjoyed that time of my life actually. But coming into high school, I was a big kid. I was 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. My high school, it was a nice high school called Good Counsel High School. We had a buffet for lunch every day. So I left high school my freshman year at 6'5", 210 pounds, I believe. So I got way bigger, but I was a big kid and I threw pretty hard, I would say. I think I topped at 84 my freshman year. But every time I threw in games, I'd do this funny thing where I'd just get shelled and destroyed out there. And I had a pitching coach who was like, you kind of throw 3/4. What if you just bend at the hips and do it? And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And he was like, and I did it for a few pitches. He was like, no, that's like actually really good. Like he was one of those no nonsense pitching coaches where if I did bad, he'd just be like, that was terrible. Like, why would you ever even do that? But and so him saying, this is actually pretty good, I was like, oh, this must be really good then, because he never says stuff like that. And he was like, next game you have, I want you to try it out. And our next game was against Gilman High School, and they had a player by the name of Gavin Sheets, who is now with the White Sox, I believe. And he was a big hitter. Everybody knew about Gavin. And I pitched against him throwing submarine, and I got him to ground out twice. And I was like, okay, yep, no, I'm going to make this my personality. This will be my life now. And I just kind of rolled with it. And then my senior season, I didn't realize what I did till about 5 days after, ERA wise, because I was just a very arrogant high school baseball player and just overly confident. I would say that is the time period in my life where I had just watched Eastbound and Down for the first time. And as any pitcher will tell you, after watching Eastbound and Down, there's a part of you where it's like, that's going to be my life. I want to be Kenny Powers, but I want to do it right and not do drugs, not do steroids, just the really good at baseball part, but have that little arrogance to you. So I had a lot of that arrogance to me, which I think helped me because it made other teams really not happy when I was pitching. And I also really like this one pitcher named Al Hrabarski, who is the Mad Hungarian. And I just remember him talking about if the hitter wants to embarrass you, they're going to try to do more. They're going to overthink it. Most of the time, they're going to mess up. And by the time they messed up, they haven't even realized what they've done because they're already out. And so I was a big believer in that. And so I was a little boisterous out on the mound, I would say, and kind of just consumed by competition. And then after the season had happened, my buddy Chris was like, Steve, when was the last time you gave up a run? And I was like, I don't really know. And he was like, well, you haven't. So good job this year. And I was like, oh, cool. It was just a really cool moment to, again, just be so immersed in what you're doing that you don't realize like the after effects of what's coming from it, I would say.
Al Hrabowski, some of the best facial hair as well in baseball history, maybe more underrated.
Should have there we go.
Wow.
Just perfect chops. This is like my prized possession. You can get them for like $10 on eBay. I don't want you thinking I just pulled out like a super fancy baseball card. It's just Al.
Now, for those that were just listening to this episode
Oh,
of
good
On
point.
Deck with the Ketts with Steven Schoch, he just pulled out an Al Hrabowski signed card. Was it signed?
Yeah, signed.
There we go.
Nothing too fancy. It just really features his phenomenal Fu Manchu mustache, which also can be referred to as a handlebar. And he does a good job of cutting it right to the jawline. Sorry, I forgot that this is on air, so now I feel I need to paint the picture. And he's got sideburns just to below the lobe. And I know what you're thinking. That could be pretty high up. But he has detached lobes from what I can see in this picture, so it's actually pretty low.
All right. Well, we got the full radio description right there. So yeah, I mean, you do a great job with the podcast. You might have to join us in the booth this summer for a game.
Oh, I'm all for it. Honestly, one of the core memories of Cotuit was this is complete sidebar, and I don't know if I can call it a core memory because you just unlocked it, but maybe I repressed it by accident. But in Harwich, I threw in a game where I did not throw too great. I had a sick double play from Michael Tolia that completely bailed me out. And after the game, I heard them talking about it in the booth for Sam and Sam. Great people. I don't know if you've met Sam and Sam, but phenomenal people. But I remember stopping by with them and talking with them on air, which I actually really enjoyed. So maybe that was the catalyst for me that has sent me down this rabbit hole. Sam and Sam, love them.
Yeah, quick shout out to Sam and Sam, Sam Brief, Sam Niederman, and they're both doing great stuff as well, broadcast wise. So maybe that's where you got the start.
Everybody knows that if you want skin in this game, it's Cotuit Kettleers, broadcasting, radio, internships of all kinds. They are great people. And honestly, another guy I keep up with a lot is Peter Flaherty. I got to mention that. He's been doing great things with the game of baseball lately. It makes me happy seeing him work with Baseball America. He's a great guy.
You talked about it a little bit before the show when you're going to come visit this summer. Can you just tell us when that might be?
I'm going to try to do end of July, early August. I am horrendous at plans. I'm not good at them. That's one thing I miss about college baseball was waking up every day and having a 40 to 50-year-old guy text me what I'm going to do with my day. That actually helped me out a lot. Now I don't have that. So it's just on me and my wife to try to organize me, which is not an easy job. I appreciate her for doing it. But hopefully, sorry, I forgot what the question was halfway through there, but hopefully end of July, early August.
Sounds good.
Expecting it.
I think it'll be fun. It's a great place up there.
Well, this is our formal invitation for you to join us in the booth for a game, however long you want to stay and just help call the game with us and just talk some baseball. So we'd love to have you.
Okay, you said however long, right?
Yes,
right.
We did say
all
that.
Right, July 27th, we are doing the 25-hour broadcast. But I would love to do it. I would love to be there. 25
hours, that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh God, I can't imagine it would be anything productive after hour 12. Hour 6 is probably where my brain would mentally take a walk, and then it's just who knows what we're talking about.
He's Steven Schoch of the Schoch Factor podcast. Steven, if you wouldn't mind telling us where people can follow you on Twitter and follow the podcast.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at BigDonkey47. My podcast's Twitter is Schoch Factor Pod. And if you want to listen to the Schoch Factor Pod, there's links in that description. But it's on Apple, Amazon. I don't know if it's on Amazon. I don't know why I said that. I meant to say Spotify. It's on Apple and Spotify if you want to listen to it. If you look for it on Amazon, might be there, probably not. So if I sent you and you got lost, I'm sorry. but it's on the other ones. I know that for sure. And if you want to listen and check it out, listen to some of the weird things happening in college baseball. Not always who's the best and who's the worst, but typically who eats the most strange foods between doubleheader games, how to stay warm when it's cold outside. We got you covered.
And that's with Jake Mintz and Jordan Schusterman, also of Cespedes Family Barbecue. So 3 of you guys talking college baseball, always fun to listen to. Steven, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of On Deck with the Ketts.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm jealous of all 3 of you and everybody listening who gets to experience Cotuit Kettleer baseball live, because it again, I've said it a million times, but I'm saying it because I really believe it. It's the best place in the world.
Thank you, Steven.
Thank you, Steven. Appreciate you joining us.
Of course. Thank y'all.
So for Steven Schoch, the Schoch Factor podcast, former 2-year Cotuit Kettleer, Lily Butler, Joe Pratt, I'm Tyler Danburg. We sign off, and we'll talk to you soon on Deck with the Ketts.